If you talk to yourself in this way, what you desire is yours. This is what I'd like to discuss today with you, with personal examples of applying what we're discussing today. Autosuggestion and the subconscious mind chapters are the two chapters from Think and Grow Rich that had the most powerful impression on generating concrete results in my life. From getting out of debt to building 3 successful businesses, ideal results in financial, physical, intellectual, career, family, social, and spiritual as well, as they were mind purifying in a fun way. And the same is the case with those that I've worked with. I'm actually considering hosting interviews, although I prefer the word conversations, with some of my past clients on this channel so they can share their stories and results from applying this information. And I also believe that all the chapters in the book are closely related and intertwined harmoniously so with these 2 chapters. So today I would like to discuss some key insights from the 2 chapters to build upon what we discussed in Tuesday's video, which I'll link to in the description. Breaking free from the illusion of the matrix. The matrix theory being the idea that the world which appears through the 5 senses is a theater of something similar to a computer programming, which is a set of rules and algorithms that determine what and how experiences appear. The theater of mind, which reflects as the theater of life. Spirit and matter are one. Consciousness is the only reality. The one cause within appears as and appears to animate all that appears through imagination. So key points from Tuesday's video, which we'll expand upon today, are number 1, being aware. Number 2, being neutral. And number 3, reimagining. So apply autosuggestion to reimagine, as he says here. Autosuggestion is a term which applies to all suggestions and all self-administered stimuli, which reach one's mind through the 5 senses. Stated in another way, autosuggestion is self-suggestion. It is the agency of communication between the part of the mind where conscious thought takes place and that which serves as the seat of action for the subconscious mind. So we are suggesting to ourselves all day long, whether one is aware of it or not. We suggest meaning to ourselves by what we relate to people, what we relate to ourselves, what we relate to environments, what we relate to circumstance, and even what we relate to information. Yes, even information. See, anytime one appears to consume information, they're suggesting to themselves what that information means to them. As we've already assigned much meaning to words and sequences of words, where if we are not operating with awareness, we may allow those suggestions to impress on the subconscious mind to queue up for manifestation. So it is key thus to be aware of what we are believing as true through information suggestions. And also to note, even if one does not initially believe the suggestion as true, based on repetition, it can form a belief, as William Walker Atkinson said in his book, Suggestion and Autosuggestion. He said, "It is the constant dripping of water wearing away the stone. A suggestion which passes you without much attention or consideration when first made will gain both attention and consideration from you if it be repeated sufficiently often and in the right manner." Right manner can refer to hearing the same suggestion, or hearing the same suggestion said differently, or from a different perspective, or delivered in a suggestive cadence. So if you ever come across information suggestions that are not considered ideal, deny it by inwardly suggesting what you would like it to be as. And also worth mentioning, rather than consuming information where one might find they are doing this reimagining too often, keep your mind saturated ideally by being selective towards the information that suggests what you'd like reality to appear as, while still being aware of the various information that is not ideal, perhaps for future benefit, without identifying with it. To facilitate this way of being, consider what Napoleon Hill defines as accurate thinking. He says accurate thinking is based on two simple fundamentals. They are called inductive reasoning and deductive reasoning. Inductive reasoning is used when the necessary facts on which to base your thinking are not available. In this case, you act on a hypothesis of what you assume the facts to be. Deductive reasoning is used when you have the facts or what appears to be the facts on which to base your thinking. I like how he says what appears to be the facts, as there are infinite possibilities in imagination, some ideal for you and others not so ideal for you. Deny what is not ideal by allowing your attention to remain on the facts that contribute to your vision through discernment, as he says here. The next step in accurate thinking is to separate facts from hearsay evidence and determine whether you are dealing with a hypothesis or real facts. When you are sure you have dependable facts on which to base your thinking, you take the second step by separating these facts into two classes. One is important facts, and the other is unimportant facts. At this point, you are almost sure to want to ask the question, what is an important fact, and how can I distinguish it from an unimportant fact? And I shall give you an answer to this very important question by saying that an important fact is any fact that will aid you to any extent whatsoever in attaining the object of your definite major purpose in life. So any facts that are in harmony with your vision and or major purpose in life, those are worth entertaining. So what he's saying here is allow your attention to remain on what is in harmony with your vision. Since throughout the day we are suggesting impressions on the subconscious mind anyways, it is key thus to impress the subconscious mind with what brings about more of the image and likeness of our vision. For example, I remember one time back in the days, my revenues in my business were pretty consistent. And then I started watching the news, seeming to suggest that the economy was changing, and this or that was not ideal opinions. Then all of a sudden, more of that information started to appear, and people started to appear echoing those thoughts. And I started to also notice it appearing as changes in my business as my monthly revenues going down. So what I did was deny that former self-suggestion with an auto-suggestion, such as, I earn X amount of dollars per month. Because what we think feelingly upon now appears, and what we do not think feelingly upon now disappears. So then I noticed a fact like Napoleon Hill described. I noticed a pattern in my business of 20% of my clients facilitating 80% of the revenues. From this fact that was in harmony with my vision, an idea emerged of a way I could reach out to those clients for more business opportunities and referrals. All by applying accurate thinking, the revenues increased, and I also raised the monthly goal higher. And this works because, as he says here, the principle of autosuggestion voluntarily reaches the subconscious mind and influences it with these thoughts. This is what Matthew 10:16 is suggesting. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Therefore be shrewd as serpents and innocent as doves. And you get mentally sharper with practice. And by that I mean, anytime any information suggestion is not considered ideal, deny it inwardly by self-suggesting what you'd like it to be as. So we discern, as he says here. All sense impressions, which are perceived through the five senses, are stopped by the conscious thinking mind, and may be either passed on to the subconscious mind or rejected at will. The conscious faculty serves, therefore, as an outer guard to the approach of the subconscious. So if one does not discern, they may leave it up to what appears as chance or randomness to them, or past programming that is not ideal, to play out, calling it fate. And so now you have all the power to suggest ideally to your subconscious mind, as he says here. Nature has so built us that we have absolute control over the material which reaches our subconscious mind. Through the five senses, although this is not meant to be construed as a statement that one always exercises this control. So to practice this, to apply this. Every moment of every day, which is actually now, as all that truly exists is now, we have the ability to suggest what we desirably relate to the current experience. What is now thought of as the past is all imagination. And what is now thought of as the future is also all imagination. Now is also all imagination, although we experience imagination through mind in and as body and other forms of expressions of life. He says, recall what has been said about the subconscious mind resembling a fertile garden spot in which weeds will grow in abundance if the seeds of more desirable crops are not sown therein. Autosuggestion is the agency of control through which an individual may voluntarily feed their subconscious mind on thoughts of a creative nature, or by neglect, permit thoughts of a destructive nature to find their way into this rich garden of the mind. So what we relate with people, environment, circumstance, or information, we are suggesting to the subconscious mind. So we can say autosuggestions can be done consciously, or suggestions may be subconsciously repeated to turn suggestions into lightly held beliefs and into firm convictions, which conviction means a strongly held belief. And each one reveals what they are believing by observing the outer aspects of life. So now let's go over to the subconscious mind chapter of the book to discuss. He says, the subconscious mind consists of a field of consciousness in which every impulse of thought that reaches the objective mind through any of the five senses is classified and recorded, and from which thoughts may be recalled or withdrawn as letters may be taken from a filing cabinet. It receives and files sense impressions or thoughts regardless of their nature. You may voluntarily plant in your subconscious mind any plan, thought, or purpose which you desire to translate into its physical or monetary equivalent. So the subconscious aspect of mind is where the impressions are stored. And the power of your subconscious mind, which appears to animate all that appears, takes those impressions and externalizes them for you. So you get to choose. So choose wisely. Again, Matthew 10:16. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Therefore be shrewd as serpents and innocent as doves. Another translation has it as wise as serpents. He says, through a method of procedure unknown to us, the subconscious mind draws upon the forces of infinite intelligence for the power with which it voluntarily transmutes one's desires into their physical equivalent, making use always of the most practical media by which this end may be accomplished. So we leave it up to the infinitely intelligent power of our subconscious mind to take care of everything. We allow it to appear ideally by not trying to control or force it. We allow, as body is animated by law, spirit animates all. Spirit appears as and appears to animate all that appears through imagination. Spirit and matter are one. Consciousness is the only reality. Joseph Murphy says the following about infinite intelligence in The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Provided that you are open-minded and receptive, the infinite intelligence within your subconscious mind can reveal to you everything you need to know at every moment of time and point of space. You can receive new thoughts and ideas, bring forth new inventions, make new discoveries, and create new works of art. He also has a wonderful autosuggestion in the book. The infinite intelligence that gave me this desire guides and reveals to me the perfect plan for unfolding that desire. And without this understanding, one may appear to labor in vain and suffer because they think they have to do it all by themselves. I can't of myself do nothing. The Father within doeth the work. We simply allow it to happen. See, the individual self and the body that appears are all emanations of infinite intelligence, which again appears as and appears to animate all that appears through imagination, as infinite intelligence and matter are one. To emphasize, Napoleon Hill states, There is plenty of evidence to support the belief that the subconscious mind is the connecting link between the finite mind and infinite intelligence. It is the intermediary through which one may draw upon the forces of infinite intelligence at will. It alone contains the secret process by which mental impulses are modified and changed into their spiritual equivalent. It alone is the medium through which prayer may be transmitted to the source capable of answering prayer. So the subconscious mind acts as an intermediary between the conscious mind and infinite intelligence. And what appears as the individual mind and body that appears also through mind are a conduit through which infinite intelligence rises and does everything. Again, I can of myself do nothing. The Father within me doeth the work, as he says here. The subconscious mind is the intermediary, which translates one's prayers into terms which infinite intelligence can recognize, presents the message, and brings back the answer in the form of a definite plan or idea for procuring the object of the prayer. So now let's talk about how we can apply all we're discussing here today. Number one, autosuggestion in the present tense of already having, recorded and played on loop. Like, for example, the Dr. Millikan autosuggestion provided by Neville Goddard. I have a lavish, steady, dependable income, consistent with integrity and mutual benefit. Record yourself saying it and play it on loop till you feel it as real. This initiates the belief, and number 2 and number 3 also help transform the belief into a firm conviction. Number 2, guard the subconscious mind. The conscious aspect of mind guards the subconscious from false impressions. Again, Matthew 10:16 suggests, Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Therefore, be shrewd as serpents and innocent as doves. You may consider the conscious mind as the serpent and the subconscious mind as the dove. Truly, they're both one, as there's one mind. So by consciously guarding the subconscious mind from false impressions, we allow the subconscious mind to be oriented from the vision, allowing infinite intelligence to take care of what has been impressed upon it, ideally, by guarding it from false impressions. I personally like to keep a strict mental diet. I designed my life to be a flow-based mental diet. Both Emmett Fox style, which is not identifying with thoughts of disharmony, plus Neville Goddard style of thinking feelingly as applicable of ideal thoughts from the premise of having. And also I include the thoughts which are what Napoleon Hill mentioned, thoughts based on accurate thinking, which are thoughts that are in harmony with the vision. Then we have number 3. We live in a time now where there's so much information, easily accessed, easier, faster than ever before, or so it may appear that way. And thus be aware of what you are suggesting in relation to what information you are consuming. And never suggest or believe anything that disempowers you. So you can, through what was discussed here, consume information and not worry about if the information that is not ideal is going to impress your subconscious mind. No information has any power over you. You are the only suggester and suggestee in relation to information. So I trust you found this video to be helpful. Let's go ahead and conclude this with an autosuggestion to further encourage. You could say, I see clearly what is in harmony with my vision by giving thanks, appreciation, and gratitude to what is in harmony with my vision, which results in more of that appearing ideally accordingly as far as my senses perceive. If you would like a copy of this mind map, the link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk with you soon. Take care.